Okay, good morning. Saturday morning. I didn't really have a chance to video last weekend, but I did do a little bit of stuff, or I did a little bit on the chassis nonetheless. If you remember in the last video, we were at the just establishing the roof line, got these A-pillars in here, and the one thing I've always wanted to do, always wanted to have a chassis table, but I also wanted to build some fixtures of some kind. So this is what I came up with. These are recycled angle iron from a frame that I had, 1/4 inch by 3x3 angle iron, and yeah, it doesn't look great, but I'm kind of too cheap at this point to go down and buy box tubing. So I had this in the yard, cut it up. It's just sitting there. It's going to be useful for what I'm doing here. So what I've got is in the back here, I've got these 2 posts, and with the plasma table, I cut slots in the angle iron so I can make these the height adjustable here. And so 2 posts in the back. Right now I've only got 1 post in the front, and I don't really like that because it does move side to side. And so I'm gonna go ahead and cut another post and another base plate. I'll get that put in there, and then in CAD I went ahead and I designed some cross beams that go across the top of these posts that have saddles built into them at the exact angle or the exact width measurement where these tubes lay in. So that should really help me stabilize the roof, get things laid in there square and 100% repeatable every time, and just make life a lot easier when I'm tacking things together, not having to hold things with a bunch of clamps and a bunch of angle fixtures. So that's what we're going to do right now. I'll show you a little bit of the design I did in CAD, and then we're going to go over to the plasma table and go from there. Here we go. Right here I'm using Fusion 360 to do some of the fixture design. I'm by no means an expert with this, but I've been learning, and it's an invaluable tool for doing design of this kind. So right here we went ahead and cut those fixture designs out on the plasma table. It sure is nice having a plasma table to design and cut things with. It sure makes it a lot easier to do some of this stuff. Here I'm taking these fixture plates, I drilled them out. I've decided just to bolt them all together rather than weld them together. I've got little spacers between. Not really knowing how this is going to work out, I decided it'd just be easier to bolt things together and not weld things together and make things too finalized. Just wanted to make sure things are going to work the way I had originally planned. So here's the beginning of a whole lot of back and forth. I took the fixture down and measured everything, and these posts, building a second or a fourth post, marking and drilling a bunch of that old angle iron. Real thankful to have a nice drill press to get that done with. Here I got the base plate for that fourth post on that back table, and I'm getting ready to weld that up. Okay, here we go. Midday check-in. This is what we got. We got another new post here for the fixture jig. I don't know what we should call it. I'll call it a fixture. You saw in the CAD drawings, I cut these cross tubes here, and I've got slots in them so I can square them up side to side. And then, of course, the posts have slots in them so I can raise them up and down. These I only cut out a 1/8 inch, so I doubled them up and I put spacers between them, and I just bolted everything together. I didn't want to weld everything because I don't exactly know if this is going to work the way I intended it to work. So far, it's pretty slick. So what I've done is I've leveled out. There you go. You see that? I leveled out the back end of the roof bars. I was a little bit high on this left side, so I had to just sort of dress up this B-pillar tube a little bit, just take shave a little bit of metal off of it, top and bottom, just very little. I was just a little bit high driver's side over here. So, but the beauty of this fixture that I built, and it's working so far the way I intended, is that, so your roof line, my roof line here on this chassis, it climbs toward the rear. So in the front we're lower, in the rear we're higher. So it climbs. So not only does it climb like that, and you're having to make sure you can hold the roof up higher in the rear, but it also it's also pinched in at the top. So we've got several angles going on. The thing's climbing in the rear, it's pinched in at the top, and it's a real pain in the ass without, about 4 hands, or 6 hands would be better, to hold it all in place and square it all up and tack it and then untack, or cut the tack, then retack, and then. So I wanted to build the fixtures and these little cradles here so that I could hold it in place and get it all squared up and then tack it together. So what I've done is, you'll notice there's gaps, if you can see, there's gaps between the cradle and the front here on the tubes. And so I've got the back where I want it. Now I'm going to bring up the front and get it leveled out. And before I do that, I'm going to take the A-pillar / roof tubes off and then square up these cross tubes to each other, or not these cross tubes, the fixture braces, we'll call it the fixture, the cradle part of the fixture. I'm going to square them up to each other because I've got the back set pretty much where I want it. I think my inward angles here are correct on the B-pillar and the A-pillar. They look good by eye, but I'm going to put an angle finder on them and make sure they're both the same. And then the telltale, or the true tell-all, will be this tube here that I have cut that pops in right here on the back. It goes from here to here. And if that thing pops in and fits like a glove, then I know my distance is correct and my angles should be pretty damn close. And then once I get that all done, then I make sure that our angles, our roll-in, are matching from front to back and everything's squared up. And you might wonder, or you might notice that I've got two saddles here. There's an inside saddle and outside saddle. Well, the outside saddle is for the trail chassis because the trail chassis is just a little bit wider. So anyway, there's the update. After several hours of putting this thing together and starting to get things squared up, I could sit out here and mess with this forever and make sure it's 100% on the money before I start tacking things. Once I get this this front fixture, cradle, cross tube, cross brace, whatever you want to call it, in there and supporting the tubes, and I verify my angles and verify everything's right, then I can go ahead and cut what I call the brow bar or the brow tube, which is the front tube on the cab or the roof line that, you know, comes from here to the bend and here to the bend, and then it kind of has a little V in it, and then you've got your two windshield brace tubes that come down from there. So that'll be after I mess with this for a little while longer and get everything squared up. So anyway, yeah, it's working. We're having fun.
5 hours later.
Okay, so I've got this front support on the fixture lined out. We're 0.05. It keeps jumping from 0.05 to 0.0. We got the gap over here figured. That's good to go. Over here, we're, I don't know, that looks like 1/4 inch to me. And I checked this angle here with the angle finder. The angles don't match. We're higher over here on this end, which means I need to take some out of this joint here. So right where this coping and everything is, I need to take some out, and we should be able to drop this gap some. We'll match angles. We'll throw the level across over there. We'll make sure that we'll throw the level across over in the front, and we'll make sure that we are level. Then we'll go back and check these B pillars for angle, both angle this way and angle this way. And I can tell you right now, they're not in line with each other. My eyeballs tell me so. But anyway, we'll do that, and then we'll take this rear cross tube that goes up here to here and double check and make sure that thing pops in there and it's good to go. Here I went ahead and took the A pillar / roof bar tubes down and added the sleeve, the internal sleeve for the back of that joint behind the B pillar, and welded up those plug welds for that sleeve, and reassembled the back upper X brace and that center tube. This is one of many times I think I put it in there and taken it out, just beginning to do the run around. It seems like that's what I do, is run circles around this chassis table, doing all this stuff, taking things out, putting it back in, checking again, double checking for level. It's just part of the process when you're doing something like this, because for every action there's a reaction somewhere, whether it be in the front, the back, and you just got to take your time and be careful to check all your angles, check your measurements. I think right here I just massaged that driver's side B pillar a little bit because I was still a little bit high on the driver's side on the roof line there in the back. Yeah, this is the glamorous life of chassis building, prepping tubes, bunch of back and forth, grinding, taking things out, putting it back in, checking measurements, checking angles. It's an adult erector set for sure. So we're going to go ahead and close this video out. This is where we were, or this is where we're at. So we've got the fixtures all set up. Well, the fixtures all lined out. I made some adjustments. I've got to bring this front fixture up a little bit. And what I've done now is, after I verified my angles here and here, I went ahead and put in these B-pillars and what I think is going to be their final spot, and laid in the X-brace here. Yeah, that's where we're at. I'm going to go ahead and close this video out. That'll be part 6. And like always, please like, subscribe, share with your friends if you like this content, and go to the website tap1fab.com and support these videos by buying a shirt, a hoodie, or an engraved cup. Appreciate it, guys. Take care.